There is nothing more soul-crushing than an African high school. I promise you, it's a train full of trauma just waiting to rail you from behind. Is what you hear your school guard whispering to you as your parents head back to their car, having just dropped you off for your first day of high school in Africa. At this point, it's clear you made a big mistake, but there is no turning back. I went to an all-boys boarding school, but luckily, right next to us, we had an all-girls boarding school that we only got to interact with through school events twice a year at most. The first emotional hit I suffered was coming to terms with the fact that I'd be stuck waking up with morning wood, surrounded by 5 other guys who also had morning wood for 3 months straight. It's psychological torture at its finest to be robbed of any interaction with the opposite gender at such an age. Now for the fighting. Your typical African high school has a fight like every other day, man. I swear, I witnessed 2 fights within my first week and I was baffled. Like, how are y'all fighting? Y'all don't even know each other yet. I genuinely feel like some people just do it for the love of the game. They get off on the adrenaline rush, and I know this because at one point that was me. I used to love challenging people to wrestle me until I made him tap out because I had the upper hand. I was a pretty heavy kid. However, my career was short-lived when I finally challenged my friend to a real fight. I got my ass handed to me so bad, I'll never forget it. I landed just 1 punch and ate about 15 punches back to back, head against the wall. That shit hurt so bad, it turned me into a pacifist monk. I've never been in a fight since then. Speaking of fights, they don't just end with the students. Nah, the teachers get in on the action too. Now, there's 2 things that can happen when you get on a teacher's bad side. You could A, get an ass whooping from your teacher, or B, your teacher fights you. Avoid B at all costs, please. We observe and receive ass whoopings all the time. It's nothing new. Most parents have trained their kids for these since birth, but every now and then, about once, maybe twice a year, you'll hear about a fight between a teacher and a student. They're often spoken about like they're myths or tales of old, legends even. I happen to be lucky enough to observe one firsthand. Let me tell you about it. We had a teacher who was literally nicknamed Boyka from the movie Boyka Undisputed because he was notoriously known for fighting students. One day, 2 of my friends had gotten into some serious trouble with Boyka, so he called him into his room, and I coincidentally also had a few things to discuss with Boyka, so I stayed outside waiting for them to be done. And not even a minute later, I hear so much chaos, man. Shoes squeaking on the ground, tables and chairs being dragged around, the sounds of fists colliding with faces at brutal speeds, then BAM! The door swings open as my boy Scott gets kicked right through it. Laying on the ground, helpless, Scott and I both watched as Boyka beat the daylights out of the other guy in the room. It was scary stuff, man. But as one of the higher up prefects at the time, it was my duty to do something about it. It got me into a lot of trouble what I did. My very own face-off against the undisputed champion, Boyka. Story for another day. Now, the thing I hated about high school the most, and I mean I had a burning hatred for this, was the morning preps. Basically a 2-hour-long personal study session in a class that begins at 5 a.m. Why? What the fuck, man? What's the actual point? Well, you might be thinking, Freddie, it's just an early morning, man. As long as you get enough sleep, you're good. And for that, I'd slap you across your face, because do you think African schools care about your sleep? Nah! Bedtime was 10 p.m. No one would fall asleep before 10:30 p.m. And we'd have to be up at 4:30 a.m. 6 hours! And that's if you fall asleep fast enough. We'd then be forced to run in the freezing cold before heading to class for the morning preps. I swear, man, I can vividly remember a specific point where as I was walking up the stairs at 5 a.m. headed to class, I took a pause. I stared down the balcony and genuinely contemplated jumping off the 6-meter drop and hopefully breaking my leg so I could get at least 2 weeks at home, because that's literally what it takes to escape this hellhole. You either have to have a broken limb or be on the very verge of death itself.